So more details have emerged, and they don't look good for the settler colony of Israel, its European and American backers, and the Western propaganda. Yesterday, so-called experts in the West couldn't hide their excitement while claiming that Israel had completely destroyed the Iranian air defense system and significantly degraded Tehran's ballistic missile program. By the end of Friday, Iran had stunned everyone by pounding Israeli cities with ballistic missiles successfully. Iran had also made a mockery of the much publicized American Iron Dome, THAAD, David Sling, and Arrow air defense systems. You can watch those videos on our Telegram channel. Details are on the screen because I can't post those videos here. Then Iran sent shockwaves by claiming that it had also destroyed two Israeli F-35 fighter jets and captured a pilot. If true, this would be the first time any country in the world has successfully destroyed F-35 fighter jets, and that's massive. Scenes of destruction from Israel were devastating. This was because Israelis are notorious to position their military installations in the crowded civilian areas, using civilians as human shields. For example, Israeli military headquarters building in Tel Aviv, Hakiria, also known as the Israeli Pentagon, was severely damaged by Iranian missiles. A reporter working for pro-Donald Trump TV channel Fox News was at the site. Watch his broadcast immediately after the explosion rocking the Israeli military headquarters.
Trey, I know they don't want you to show it, but how badly was their version of the Pentagon, Israel's version of the Pentagon, hit by these attacks?
I'm going to have my cameraman just pan up to this building here that is on the compound of the Kiryat. And you can see these are likely offices. The building just next to it I've been in many times. But there is significant damage. They have teams there just trying to ensure that no one was inside at the time. Likely when the missile attack happened, any senior officials that would have been inside their version of the Pentagon would have been underground. But there is damage to it. And again, this just speaks to the types of targets that the Iranians are hitting. They are targeting not only residential areas, they are targeting military installations. And this is expected to escalate because they have advanced missiles. We have seen them provide the Russians with these very missiles that they are using against Ukraine. And now they are using these advanced ballistic missiles to target Israel. And again, despite the fact that there is some advanced missile defense systems that are on the ground here, from David Sling to the Arrow 2 and 3 system, and the American systems, the Patriot system and the THAAD system, it is not enough to stop this incoming fire. And when we were live earlier today, around the 2 p.m. hour, it was so intense in Tel Aviv that they were not able to shoot down the missiles with these advanced systems. And as the missiles kept slipping past the air defense, they started to use smaller systems in an attempt to shoot them down. And we saw missiles slamming into the ground, causing significant damage and killing at least one person. And so as we move forward here, it is very clear that the conflict that is erupting now between Israel and Iran is different than anything that the region has seen. And it is substantially different from the conflict that has been ongoing for more than 600 days between Israel and Hamas inside Gaza. These ballistic missiles make the rockets that were being fired from Gaza look like toys. It is causing significant damage, wiping entire apartment blocks off of the map. Laura?
Similar scenes of destruction were reported from other parts. Clearly, this came as a shock to Israelis who were so used to causing carnage against helpless and unarmed people. British ambassador to the UN Security Council was seen making desperate announcement that the UK was in no way involved. She was visibly frightened by the prospect of an Iranian retaliation against British targets in Cyprus after the Russian ambassador implied that the UK base was being used to help Israel.
The UK did not participate in this action. And let me say clearly and unequivocally that Russia's claim that British sovereign bases on the island of Cyprus were in any way involved is nonsense. It is deeply irresponsible at moments like this for Russia to be spreading disinformation.
Meanwhile, Israel has continued to attack Iranian nuclear sites and oil refineries in violation of international laws. Latest Israeli strikes against Iran have killed more civilians. Yesterday, the Iranian ambassador to the UN said that Israel had killed 78 civilians, including women and children, on Friday. The rogue regime of war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu has slaughtered more civilians, including women, in subsequent airstrikes in Iran. But Iran has vowed to launch more retaliatory attacks. War criminal Netanyahu would like the US to be dragged into this war, but prominent pro-Trump voices have strongly advised against any American involvement.
Here, I think overwhelmingly Americans stand with Israel. The question is, do they support America getting offensively involved in this war? And I can say definitively, especially with younger Trump supporters, the answer is no. They want to have Israel fight Israel's war, to stand with Israel, intelligence sharing, defensive measures, totally defensible, and I think is legitimate because over 100,000 Americans, as Trey said, are in Israel. And America and Jordan have a long history of having defensive measures to protect civilians. But the question will be in the coming days and weeks, will there be clamoring for an offensive American strategy against Iran? Will some people say, hey, we can finally wipe them out, we have them on the ropes? I would introduce a little bit of caution towards that, especially from a younger generational perspective. One of the main reasons we were able to get young people to vote for President Trump so overwhelmingly this last election was a reminder that President Trump is the peace president, that President Trump is able to broker the impossible peace deals. Look what he did the other day between India and Pakistan. Look at what he did in his first term. And so I do believe that President Trump is uniquely positioned here to stand with our allies, to stand on the side of civilization, but also understand that his voters, they want to return to America first, to stand with what is right and just in the world, but we do not want a potential endless quagmire in the Middle East, and I'm confident President Trump will make sure that does not happen.
Okay. Tucker Carlson, a prominent conservative American commentator and a known supporter of Trump. He wrote on Twitter, and I quote, "The real divide isn't between people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence and those who seek to prevent it, between warmongers and peacemakers." Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone who is calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct US military involvement in a war with Iran. On that list, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Rupert Murdoch, Ike Perlmutter, and Miriam Adelson. At some point, they will all have to answer for this, but you should know their names now. End quote. But the most damaging aspect of this limited conflict so far has been Iranian claims of having destroyed F-35 jets. The Iranian army said in a statement that its defense forces successfully hit and destroyed 2 F-35 fighter jets belonging to the Zionist entity, in addition to a large number of small drones. The fate of the 2 fighter pilots remains unknown and is being investigated. As I said, if true, this would send shivers across the West, since this would have further established that not only was Iran's air defense system intact, but it was robust enough to even destroy F-35. This is only the day 2 of an illegal war started by the settler colony of Israel, built on the stolen land of Palestinians. It would be interesting to see what Iran does in its next round of response. I'll be back with more updates. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.